All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session in my series on growing a global business. In this session, we are going to be talking about and going deep into building a global visual brand, right? So if you have been following me for a while, over the years, I would have had, made investments in my imagery for myself, for my product, for my business, for my family. And I think that is one of the things that would have set me apart in my local industry, as well as help me to be involved in different industries internationally. And so today we want to talk all about it. The two people that I have involved in my visual brand, one of them is a photographer, all right, Kyle Archibald, and together with Kyle, Cassia Marina, who has been my creative director and also been there on site helping me with my shoots, is here to chat with us this evening all about building that visual brand, right? So Cassia is the mastermind behind the creative direction of my shoots, ensuring that the outcome is of an international standard, which positions my brand in the right light. Right. So tonight we are going to be speaking all on the key elements on preparing for your brand shoot, which sometimes it's more than meets the eye. We're going to talk about the common pitfalls when setting up a shoot, things that you should consider when conceptualizing your shoot, how to choose the right team for your shoot, the makeup, the photographer, etc. Selecting the right props, how to get all the right images that you need to stay in the right time frame. Now, all of these points that you would have mentioned, I can so identify because, we go it over and I see that neglecting some of these things really, you don't have the outcome that you are really looking for. All right. So for everyone, welcome, Cassia.
Thank you, Kalisha, for that awesome introduction. Everything that you said is so accurate through and through. So I have my presentation. You need to give me permission.
Sure. Let me give you permission. I guess I'll have to make you the host, a co-host.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yay. All right. So great. So y'all can see my screen, right? I won't see comments, so I guess I'll assume you all can see, right?
Yes, we can see. Yes.
All right. Okay, great. All right. So tonight we're going to dive into tonight's topic, which is building a global visual brand. So I'd like to ask you all to, before we get started, take a picture of this training and post to your Instagram stories. All right, let everybody know that you're attending and, just kind of spread the word and what you all are missing out. And then once you are done, put the phone aside and, shut out any distractions. So today we're going to discuss the common pitfalls, as Kalisha already mentioned. We are going to touch on strategy and planning. Trying this right. Props and your team, and how to get those money shots. All right, if you stay until the end, I'll show you how you can work with me and my team. There is a special offer at the end. All right, some of you might, see some familiar faces here, but yeah. All right, so I'm just going to reintroduce myself. I'm Cassia Marina, and I help small business owners brand develop and relaunch their business online. And I like to say launch your business or relaunch your business online, because it's not just about online business, but if you have a physical brick and mortar business and you want to tap into the digital space and the online space to grow your business, then it's also for you as well. All right. So I'm Cassia. I've been in the online business space since about 2009, which is over 10 years. I use my branding skills and my online expertise to help other women in business build their brand online. And before I started my business, I was, a young mom, and transitioning from being a young woman into having kids. I used to take care of my I actually left my job as a graphic designer to stay home and take care of my grandmother. Then when she passed away, I was also pregnant. So I really found myself in this transition period, hence the bare cupboards. And I really had to work with what I had. I had to get resilient. And, I looked at my hands, like, what can I do to make money? And I knew, okay, I know how to design. So I hopped on Facebook, I created a page, and the rest is history, right? So I took my passions and skills seriously at that point, and I was able to make an income with my online service-based business. And I worked with clients, locally and abroad. And I just want to help other women create that kind of freedom for themselves. So as I mentioned, I started in 2009. I actually didn't set out, fun fact, to offer services. I wanted to take those graphic skills and make products. And that's why you see the graphic tees, that's when I started to dabble in doing that sort of thing. But somehow, people come to you and they ask you, hey, can you help me brand my business, help me make this product, and so forth. Again, the rest is history. So that's how I ended up speaking, collaborating, and whatnot. And before I even left that job, I saw this. Back then, it didn't have Facebook Live, right? There was Ustream, I think. And I was on this Ustream, I think it was live stream or whatever it is. It had a name, it was something it was called. And this life coach was talking about, if you want to open up other streams of income, you need to have the vessel and the vehicle to get paid. So that's how I ended up, opening my first PayPal account and dabbling. And, that's where all the online business stuff comes from, all right? So my life today is, I do feel like a great sense of gratitude. I mean, entrepreneurship definitely has its rough days, but even on those rough days, I have to remind myself of this is the life that I chose, so you have to take the good with the bad. And I feel grateful having built and being able to continue to build life on my own terms. I get to work with people that I enjoy. I remembered even just last year, I closed on a client, and I was just so passionate about keeping it real, getting paid my value, getting paid my worth. But she was also someone who was really my kind of people, really into health and wellness and the mission that she's about and the impact that she wants to make and the stuff that she even wants to do as a Canadian resident, but with roots and ties to Jamaica. And it's like, wow, I really get to help people with these kinds of things, so my life feels so purposeful because I not only get to enjoy what I do and make money doing it, but I get to fulfill my nature for helping others. And last but most importantly, because this is the mompreneur community, I went from this job in Port of Spain, having to spend 2 to 3 hours in commute. And we know that's a big conversation post-pandemic, where I felt like I only saw my kids on the weekend because I would leave home before they wake up. And then when I get home, they're going to bed, so I also do this for them. Also, I get to work with clients anywhere, which gives me a certain level of freedom and adventure beyond the economic climate of your local country. And recently, I'm really happy and excited to join the Writers Block team, which is an copywriting agency based in Canada with offices in New York and LA. So I share all of this to really toot the importance of building a global brand for yourself, because it really does open up so much more opportunity than just what the horizon, the limited horizon that you can access right here. All right, so let's get into it. But before we get into it, I actually want to ask Kalisha a question. And before I get into breaking down the photo shoots and planning and prepping for all of that, is let's take it back to our first shoot. Like, what made you reach out to me? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have reached out because in the local space, there were very few people who were actually, yes, you would see a photographer, but you were not seeing much like coordinators. And I saw the work that you would have done for other persons locally. So I said, you know what? And, you know, us being online entrepreneurs, the constant messaging of what you do, that kept you at the top of my mind. So I was like, yeah, when I need to get this photo shoot done, I need to call Cassia.
I love that. I asked that too because, you know, it was just, I find it kind of interesting. Like, I am not a photographer, but yet you came to me and trusted me with this. And I really do love creative direction. And I was really in my early days of doing that. And it wasn't something I was putting out there. Hence why I asked the question. And I feel it's an important question to answer, because other people might be like, well, why can't I just go straight to a photographer? Like, why I need a creative director, which this webinar is going to explore, but it's also really interesting and important to hear directly from you, the customer yourself, like why, right? So thanks for that answer. That was really good. All right, so first of all, strategy is crucial, right? So strategy is where that creative direction takes place, that conceptualizing. And even if you're not working with a creative director, these are some things that you could make note of for yourself to think about before you run out and be like, okay, I'm just going to do a brand shoot. I'm going to find a cheap package from a photographer and just get these photos done, right? So in that session, right, so when I do a shoot with Kalisha, for example, the first thing we do is we have a strategy session and we talk about everything and we conceptualize. I mean, we've done this about 3 to 4 times now. So by the 3rd to 4th time, she already ahead of the game. She starts jumping into things and she's ready for the actual strategy session. So you want to know, like, what's the purpose and the mission of what you're doing. And let me explain what I mean by that. You might just think, oh, I need brand photos. I need professional images of myself, which, yes, that is true. But every shoot, every project, every phase of your business, or let's say you are running, or you're part of an organization, or maybe you have your own nonprofit, or let's say it's an event that you need photos, new, fresh photos for. I mean, there's so many different things to take into consideration. So you want to sit down and ask yourself, what is my season that I'm currently in? So what is my purpose and what is my mission? Even as a business owner, what is the purpose of this business? If you're relaunching the business, if you're launching a new business, really sit down and ask yourself, who is this for? And what is the impact that you intend to make with this business or with this messaging or whatever it is that you are looking to position yourself for? Yes, we must always start with why. It might sound cliche. If you're familiar with the book, Start With Why. It's true. You must start with your why. Right? So a picture tells 1,000 words. And when you know what is the purpose and the mission, then you need to align that with what is the story that your imagery is telling. So brand discovery exercise. Identify the whys, the whos, the whats, and the hows. Why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, what you're doing it for, and how you plan to do it, how you plan to execute what it is. That is going to give you a lot of clarity. Then you want to audit for yourself. Now, this is very much brand discovery, but when you have clarity on these things, it allows you to be a lot more intentional and go deeper with the big picture aspect of the brand, because the photography is one of your assets. So it's important to just take a few moments. It could just be 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just ask yourself these things, because that's when the ideas start to flow. Right? So you want to get the clarity on who you serve, what you do best, why you do what you do, and the problem that you're solving, so that you can insert that messaging into the photos that you plan to get. And then, again, the brand story. The brand story must be told with the visuals. And keep that in mind, because when we get down into props and wardrobe and things like that, all of these are elements to help tell your story. All right, strategy and planning. Without it, you'll risk not having on-brand images that accurately represent you or your mission, selecting the wrong team or props for your brand photo shoot, leading you to need to do it over. And not just selecting the wrong team, you might do these photos and then look back and like, oh, I didn't think of this. Oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, I should have done that. So strategy and planning allows you to not miss those fine details. And if you have to do this shoot over, you're incurring more expense having to do it over in the long run, not to mention valuable time lost as well. And then without strategy and planning, you risk selecting someone simply because they are running cheap packages. You know, you come across them all the time on Facebook, cheap rates that can't execute on the vision. You have to do too much explaining. They just don't get it, or the images look just not the way it should look. So don't get caught in that trap. Right? Because our house built on a weak foundation will crumble and fall. All right, so second of all, the vision. So how do we pull the vision together? So in this section, I'm going to lay the foundation for getting those money shots. And my secret weapon is Pinterest. All right, that is the first exercise. Make a Pinterest board, and really just after, like, you can't do the Pinterest board if you haven't even done step one. You have to know what your vision is. So story. When Cassia messaged me, and I think we were on the phone talking really briefly, and she was like, you know, I really want to do X, Y, and Z. So she has this vision, right? She knows the vision because she's already familiar with that first step, the strategy, what she's doing, what season she is in, the era she's in. And then she started to explain it. I instantly got what she was going for. I was like, oh, this is so good. I was like, oh, you're in your Kim Kardashian era. And I know that sounds funny because we have a certain thinking when you think Kim Kardashian, but she has evolved herself. And Kim Kardashian, just like Cassia, is in her early 40s. She has like a really grown woman persona that she has grown into. At the time when we had the conversation, she had just done the interview at her home with Vogue, and she's doing Balenciaga. So that elevated look, I instantly got what Cassia was going for. And I remember I was talking on the phone right on my back. So I was like, and I'm looking out to the horizon. It's like, oh, Kim Kardashian. Okay, yeah, I get it. All right. So immediately I got it. And then we're already on the shared board over the past few years. So as I see the updates, I was like, yeah, I could totally see you doing this. Right. So when you all see her photos and she's wearing this hot yet classy outfit, it came from this type of intentionality and really thinking about the types of pieces that you need, right? So get yourself on Pinterest and create a board specifically for yourself, name it brand photo shoot, and just really start playing around with all different concepts. So when it comes to when I work with clients, I tell them have fun with it. Don't overthink it. This is actually a very fun exercise. Just kind of pin your life away if you feel like it. Of course, you have to stop at some point, but stop and then go back and see, okay, yeah, I'm not feeling this anymore. And just kind of edit it, and you would start to see a vision coming through, right? So yeah, it really allows me to, as a creative director, working with clients, whether it's for photography or for a new branding project, to really see inside their minds, because we're not mind readers. So the best way to explain something is through visuals, because as picture tells 1,000 words. All right, so this was Kalisha's Pinterest board from her last shoot. Right, so I mean, if you signed up, you probably would have at least seen one or two of her brand new photos. I think you can agree we captured exactly what she was going for, right? This is the vibe, the look. Obviously, yes, she didn't wear these things. You don't have to be super literal in your wardrobe, but you take it and you make it your own. It's about capturing the essence and the aesthetic. But if you need it to be more modest, if you need it to be a little more you, whatever that might mean, it's just to capture inspiration, to help you even think about the location, the setting, where it needs to be. Do we need to go in a particular area? Do we need to rent an Airbnb? Do we need studio shots? Luckily, at the Marriott, we found a room that had like a big white wall, so we were able to get this style of images. So those are the little fine details to think about, that you really just can't get relying on a cheap photographer. I mean, not to say that there aren't those exceptions where you might come across a really good, diamond in the rough, and it's like, yeah, he's affordable or cheap, but is able to do all of this. When you're priced in a certain way, you're just trying to kind of get by, and they may tend to miss these small details. All right, so this was, when you scroll down, these were the other images. I remember trying to get this shot as much as we could. I was like, okay, we need an elevator, but for some reason, the Marriott's elevator, they decided to print it with a pattern, so we couldn't get it, but we still got this shot one way or another. All right, so yeah, I really enjoyed working on this. So I actually wanted to click this so you could see. I'm not sure. No, I don't think it would screen share the way I wanted to. I'll have to stop share just to give you a quick idea of something in terms of evolution. All right. All right, so this is the Pinterest board. Right, so you could see that there are different themes, and this is exactly why for each shoot, it's not a matter of just getting new photos, right? It's your different seasons evolving. So the shoot before, she would have done in Central Park, and we were able to get that done. Then before that, it was in Tobago, and it was a lot more lifestyle photos. We had an Airbnb for that. So you'll see how even when you look back at your Pinterest board over time, you see the evolution of where it started and how it would evolve, right? To where we are today. Let me get back to the original window. Right here, this one. Okay. All right, so after you have your Pinterest board and you think, okay, we're good, this is the vision that I'm going for, this aligns with my message and my story, then you move on to taking these photos and putting it into a shot list. Now, the shot list is actually how you really get those money shots, right? It really allows you to not come after the shoot and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't get a photo like this or like this, or pointing that way, or a photo that's kind of, I could use for website, because website images are slightly different to photos for social media and things like that. So you want to make sure and shortlist, right? So one thing I do is that we have the Pinterest images, let's say it's about 20 or 30 shots, but we take out just a few of the specific outfits and the poses that we need and whatnot. So I have a template that I use, and this helps us narrow down the outfits that we are going to do and the brand message. So this is just one example. So this is this outfit matching to this. And I just put a little edit here on the messaging that we're trying to capture. And then I share this with the photographer. I'm there coordinating, making sure we don't miss anything, because he's like on stage. He is the one showing out at that point, getting the right shots, the angles, the lighting. Like photographers have so many other things to think about in that moment. And I'm there for quality control and managing everything, making sure we stay on time, and just collaborating with the photographer as much as possible and guiding him through the shots that we need to get. All right, so thirdly, team and your props. So these are a bit of a checklist to consider. So you need to have, a creative director, like figure out if you're going to work with a creative director, you're going to go to an agency, which is kind of both. Agencies will have creative directors. And then the agency will have the photographer that may suit your budget, because sometimes they work with different photographers, and every photographer has a different rate. So the agency or creative director, myself, will match you to a photographer that will get you what you need to get, but also match that with your budget as well, your vision, the theme, etc. All right. Then you have to think to make sure to have your makeup artist. So there's so many moving parts. Like when it's time for me to do my shoot, I always kind of get left behind, because I get anxiety to do my own shoot, because I have to do all of this for myself. And it's like, oh, I have to get this, I have to get that, I have to do this. And it's like, I need a me for me. So we have the photographer, you need a makeup artist. So here I recommended a particular makeup artist for Cassia. Actually, I gave her two, and she went with this one. I kind of knew to go with this one, because she's really popping. She's really popping these days. And I was really happy that Cassia was happy with the makeup as well. So it was just a great synergy of all energies coming together. And then you have your wardrobe / stylist. So there was actually a shoot that we did, and the client actually decided to get help with the wardrobe, and they had a stylist come style them and get them pieces and stuff like that. So that's another thing that you can do for yourself, or we could make recommendations as well. And the bonus checklist is that we help you scout location, or you need to think about location based on the concept of the shoot. Hence why strategy session and really sitting down and really asking yourself the important questions to really conceptualize what is the theme of this shoot. Like when you think about magazines and when they have to do photo shoots, these are the things that they would be doing to coordinate a photo shoot, whether it's for like a celebrity or a particular person. And every personal brand goes through different seasons. When you think about actors, actresses, they all have different seasons that they are in. Right. So I put this here to like have you really think about, okay, if you want to get a shot like this, I need to get a Mac laptop, right? Clients always tell me, walk with your laptop. I need to use it for the photos. You want to think, okay, what mug do I want to walk with? Do I need to purchase a mug? Do I have a favorite mug that I always do my lives with that I have to ensure to walk with? A particular pen? Do I have a workbook that I need to walk with to capture in the photo shoot? So you don't want to show up at the shoot, empty-handed and be like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. All right. So you have to be very mindful of the people that you hire to be on your team, which is these people, and then also the props that you need to get, and also the wardrobe that you may need to get the outcome and result that you need to get. Sometimes you have pieces already, sometimes you need to get other pieces.
Someone was asking about a hairstylist.
Right. I knew I was forgetting something here.
You remember
Yes.
my day?
What was that?
I could not find my comb or brush
Yeah.
on that day.
That is true. You see, that's a very good point, right? So whoever brought that up, that's a very good point, because Kalisha, coming from Tobago, didn't have her iron, and she asked me, hey, do you have a flat iron? And luckily I did. So yeah, you want to make sure that even if you're doing your hair yourself, that you have your tools with you at the shoot if you need to touch up something. And it's okay to bring a friend once they don't get in the way, once they are there to help you to get dressed, to, you know, touch up and things like that. Because sometimes it really does help you feel calmer when you have someone there to help you. All right, so your brand is a story unfolding across all customer touch points. So this is also to, again, highlight the importance of your visuals. So here are some bonus tips as we wrap up. Global habits. So we're talking about being global, and here are a few things to keep in mind. For your shoot, to make sure you get the best possible outcome and not to get flustered, is to arrive on time / early, right? That's A. And B, don't exceed the allotted time of the shoot, because then sometimes, you know, people can get probably a bit irritable, tired, exhausted, and you just don't want to get like flustered. So just be mindful of everybody on the team's time. One of the things, especially pet peeves with photographers, is they really don't like when you, let's say the shoot starts for 2 p.m. Don't reach for 2 p.m. and then you're now doing your makeup. You know, like those are the stuff you want to keep in mind. And in keeping with global habits, time is like, they get in like, okay, we're here, it's 5 o'clock, and then by 6 they're like, and they're managing time throughout the entire thing. So let's bring that same energy, right? Yes, we might be in Trinidad or wherever you might be tuning in from, but global is also a mindset. All right, so you also want to be transparent in discussing rates. So this is, again, bonus tip, is that sometimes too often, again, it's really important as a creative to advocate for fellow creatives, because we really tend to take certain services for granted. So when reaching out, it's okay if something is out of budget, ask about payment plans. Sometimes we hear rates and we just think it's like, I don't know, buying, I guess, like a TV. That's, let's say a TV is like $2,000, but you don't have to pay all up front, right? So you could ask, like, what are the terms? Do I pay 50% now? Do I pay 50% on delivery of photos? Do I pay 50%, well, I mean the balance, before the shoot? Just ask. Like, once you ask in a way that shows that you're trying to work with somebody, most times service providers are going to be flexible. I know I am. So just be transparent with your circumstances. Don't, I know when it comes to business, and this goes for all services, there's this feeling of shame sometimes that we really need to tackle, because as business owners, we should not feel scared to talk about money. We really need to normalize it more. And it's like, if something is out of your budget, and I know sometimes at first it's like, oh my gosh, and then this feeling of shame comes up, I just want to let you know that's a totally normal feeling to have. But at least don't ghost. That's what I'm saying. Don't ghost, say something. Just say, I mean, I'll be able to do this right now. I'll circle back. And again, do you have payment plans? I might not be able to reach that price point, but I could do this. What can we do? And that doesn't mean you're haggling. It just means maybe I can create like a mini photography package and work out something with the photographer and see what could be done, right? And, you know, it goes without saying, just pay on time. And sometimes there's also the option to purchase extra photos. That's not uncommon. So that's something that you can expect sometimes if you want. Let's say the package comes with 40 images. One thing with photographers is that it varies vastly, especially if they're a really good photographer. So you can't compare apples to grapes. So if you're shopping around, just recognize that you may not get the same thing everywhere. Some photographers will tell you, hey, 200 photos, you're gonna get all, but it doesn't look edited. I have been through that. I don't pressure my clients to work with my recommended photographer, and then they kind of see what happens when they don't go with who I recommend. And I work with it, but with that experience, I could tell you, ask questions. How many photos do I get? Do I get all the photos? How many edited photos I get? If I want extra photos, like, because they'll show you a whole library, and if you have to choose 20, but you want 30, just ask them what's the rate for extra photos. These are normal things to expect. So just don't think somebody's trying to dig out your eye or this was a bad photographer. It's not really that. It's just that you didn't ask the right questions. And sometimes it's hard to ask the right questions if you're not informed. Hence why I'm sharing this information with you. But that was definitely, I don't want to say an eye-opener, but it was a really good learning experience that I could share with you, where the photographer giving you 200, it sounds great. But I had to work with him a lot to get the editing right. It was so desaturated. I was even telling the client at one point, maybe you might have to get a Lightroom filter for this, because I'm not throwing shade. Like, this is a real situation, but it worked out in the end. We made it work. All right. So these are just like more pitfalls, I guess you could make a note of, and just ask all the questions. So when you see a package for 800, ask questions, please. All right. So let's chat. Don't be shy. You can unmute yourself and, you know, give me your feedback. Is there anything that you need me to expand on? You know, is the information useful? Like, let me hear from you all. No questions, no thoughts.
Don't be shy.
So this meeting opened up my eyes a lot, because when I messaged Cassia, I wasn't sure if it was something for me, and she was like, that's your answer right there. So now I have a lot to think about. Because it literally, like, so many things just keep coming. I'm like, oh my God, how I didn't know this? Why I didn't think of this, you know? So I have a lot, so I know there will be further conversations moving forward, because I know where I want to be, and I need to take these steps to get there. But this meeting was really necessary, because I really didn't think it was something I would have needed, but it's exactly what I
Gives
needed.
you a lot to think about and consider as you move forward with building your brand. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm glad.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And yeah, that's the purpose of all of this. Like, you might not know what you might learn, and it's just that you don't know what you don't know. So when you move forward to getting any kind of service, let's say, you know, going to buy a house, like, you would know the questions to ask, but you get informed so that you can now know, okay, wow, I didn't know that's how getting a house is. So now I know what to ask. Now I know maybe I need to think about an architect, you know, things like that. So when you expose yourself to new information, now you have information that can fuel questions.
Yes, and I totally agree with that, Cassia, because I think when we started, right, some of my expectations were pretty out there in terms of, like, I wanted all, like, give me all the photos on that reel. I want all of them. The time went over, you know, it became quite exhausting. I know for myself, and for the photographer and for the creative director. So, you know,
Does.
over time we learn where business is and what is acceptable and the proper strategy, the proper way to do things as well. So yeah.
The proper structure of getting things
Mhm.
done efficiently. And I love that point that you made about being exhausted. I actually forgot to mention that. And when I'm on shoots with clients, I have to remind them that you're going to get tired, believe it or not. So you want to have your energy levels up. So if I had to edit this, I would actually put in eat well, have water. I mean, I know we try to skip meals because we want to make sure that we're not bloated and stuff like that, but still like probably get a shake or something, but make sure that you're not running on E, because you get tired really quickly taking photos. And I know this because I'm in front of the camera myself, but not just from an entrepreneur perspective. I used to do modeling back in the day, and it does get tiring. People think, oh, they just have to stand there. You know, so but by the time you change into that third outfit, it's like, okay, you're standing there and it's like, okay, all right, need to stop.
Yes, yes. And I think another key point is to be as authentic as possible, because, you know, it does shine through this, you know, sometimes you get a kind of stiff kind of where your personality, who you are, doesn't shine through the photos. And that is
You
something
have
that
to relax.
yeah, learn throughout, you know, us keep doing it over and over and over again. So I've learned to, you know, let the personality shine through.
Yeah, because it's very easy to in the beginning, to like come to it, like you're all done up, the camera is on you, and it's like, you know, a day in headlights, you're stiff, and it's like, oh, I don't know what to do, which we actually talk about that in the strategy session. I tell you how to prepare for the day and how to get all the shots that you want, the poses and stuff. So I tell clients to make sure and practice all these poses. So this is why it's important to, you're not just shortlisting for the short list, but then after we're done with that, I make sure that we get on the short list, like on the back pages, a whole bunch of poses, because it's very easy when the camera is on you to draw a blank. So it's good for you to one, practice them, and it's good to have them on the day to remember, like, oh yes, right, I want to do my hand like this or like this, or a shot like doing like that, you know. So it's all about telling the right story. And then you think about like social media. What campaign am I going to run? Do I need to be pointing this way, or do I need to laugh, or do I need to do something like this? Like for me, tea time. So like I would have done stuff with my teacup, you know. So it's all about infusing your personality, your authenticity, and again, the story has to tie into all of that. Yeah. All right, so how we can work together is two ways, believe it or not, right? So the two ways are where, first of all, I'm going to go backwards. What Kalisha would do with me and my team, right? So we do everything for you. We have the strategy session. I'm there to do creative direction on the day. I'm there for moral support as well, etc. So you're not just alone with a photographer figuring things out and whatnot. So that's the done for you package. But if you're not there for the done for you, and you feel like after watching a presentation like this, you feel comfortable, like, you know, I could pull all these things together myself, so we consider this execution, we can do a brand consultation where I'm there kind of like your coach / consultant, and then you have access to me till the duration of when you do the shoot. But we would have the same 60-minute strategy session, and then you get access to, actually, let me go to the next one. Right, so we do the brand strategy session, we'll do the Pinterest exercise, we'll do the shot list, so you'll get access to my template, so you'll have that to take to your photographer, and then access to my resources and my recommendations, so that you know without a doubt, even if you're doing it on your own, you have quality people by your side, right? So for 1 week only, if you want to lock this in, you get it for 500 TT. But typically, normally, to do that consult is $1,000 TT. Right? So you have until, so this is a fast action bonus, and you have until February 17th to get 50% off a consult with myself and access to my team and resources once you book by this date. Yeah, I think that is basically the end of today. If you are interested in doing that, you can reach out to me at this email address, and you will get the next steps on how to get started with that. And definitely, if you're new to me, let's connect on Cassia Marina on all platforms. It's also basic to branded as well. I do have a business page on Instagram. But other than that, it's Cassia Marina on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, website, cassiamarina.com. So let's just connect if we're not connected already.
Awesome. That was great. That was great. So I have a question, like, okay, so I know that this topic is, building a global brand. So would you say that, what would you say stands out with your clients, like myself or the persons you do those photos with, that they can stand on an international stage in a magazine? What do you think makes all of that difference?
Can you clarify the question?
So, okay, so we are, let's say, most of us here are Caribbean, Trinidad, Tobago, Caribbean. There you can see a difference with, just as what you were saying, when we don't plan or
Right.
when we don't use a certain team, that it does not give us the outcome that we are looking for, right? So with what we do with our strategy, how do you think that helps us to stand out, like, globally?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Because the thing is, on a global stage, image is everything. It's very glossy. Like, think about New York. Like, there's shiny things everywhere. So if you are not on par, you're not being seen. You're not going to be taken seriously. Like, it's a very, it's a world of vanity out there. There's no other way to put it, right? We like shiny things. It's like, look on TikTok. It's about the bag, it's about the this, it's about the that. And while as Caribbean people, we might not be as superficial, no offense to anybody, but the fact is we also have to look the part if we want to be noticed and we want people to take us seriously. We do have to invest in ourselves, whether it's photography, especially your website. Like, if you're not in the US and then you have no website, then who are you? So, and then if you have no website, but you have social media and it doesn't look right, it doesn't look the part, it doesn't look polished, then all of that is going to put a layer of distrust, because we're already working from a place of distrust. Not to say we're outsiders per se, but it's like, once you're not there, you have to make sure all the ducks are in a row. That's how I would want to put it. So having the, as Kalisha is familiar with, having a media kit, having a capabilities deck, you might have heard the term capabilities deck, which we could get more into another time, but you have to have all these brand assets because you want to be credible. It's like being ready for an interview.
Yeah, that is an entirely additional conversation with, being prepared. We just don't take photos like because we just want to take photos. No, it's all a part of your brand, your vision for your business. And as Cassia said in the beginning, what you have to be intentional about what you are doing. And especially with this shoot, it had a lot of intention behind it. And I think I really wanted to reflect growth, and so your audience also loves to see growth in you. So if they go back to our first shoot,
Yeah.
yeah, we had that first shoot, and it has graduated a whole lot to where it is now. And even when this shoot was over, before, I asked you like, okay, what's the next one? What we gonna do?
Like, how are we gonna do this one, right?
Yeah. So it's all part of your vision. So as you ensure, and we would have had a whole session with Dana a few weeks ago on vision. If you missed that one, like it was just too awesome. But we went into building, yes, building that vision. And this is just a small part of it, I would say, how you put yourself out to the world and to your audience. So yeah.
And one thing too is like, it's like you're competing for attention. Like the title of this webinar is visibility. So essentially you're competing for attention. You have to invest in it if you're competing for attention, because these girls out here, they be doing shoots every 3 months, So it's like, yeah, it's competitive, and I'm in no way saying that you need to do it every 3 months, but it's just that when you do it, you want to do it right.
Exactly. And there's so much things I could add to this as well, because like for me to wear this outfit that I have on there, like I have been in the gym for maybe now almost 6 months, working on myself, working on my, in my inner thoughts, my feelings, working through therapy, all these things to really get
It's a work in progress, in and out, through and through.
In and out, through and through. So it's great. A whole lot of different things come together to what people see here. So it's a whole lot, and that's why I like community, because we can always share. We can share what we are going through, share how we work through this, even through this session here, how we got to this point, and it all helps us to build ourselves, to build our business, and to put our best face forward.
Yeah. Another thing on the point of being transparent and just being open with your team is that it just kind of happened in the third shoot, where it kind of merged into a brand and family shoot, which isn't the norm. But again, once you communicate, hey, this is what I want, because there's also a limit, like coordinating and doing a shoot with more people means more work, right? So one of the things that was taken into consideration with my photographer is like, okay, she gets X amount of brand photos and then X amount of family photos. And we worked the package and customized it to her. So that's just another example of being transparent, working with your team, and not trying to, overdo, but find a sweet balance between like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. How can we accommodate this while respecting the service provider's boundaries? And that's one of the things I really love about working with my people and with a client like Cassia, is that there's never that kind of friction. We just work it out. We are very open, we're honest, and we work it out. I bring up that point because she's a mom, we're moms, and yeah, it's just another thing to think about in terms of the theme and the story and your unique circumstances. Like, she's taking the opportunity to get some family shots while she's at it. That came to mind as you mentioned community. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Do we have any more questions?
I see Dana came on and her face is beat.
Yes.
Oh, so I'm going through the comments. Mabenti said this was excellent. Thank you so much, Cassia and Cassia. You're welcome, Mabenti. Andrea said she loved the point about finances. Yeah, I really glad that you appreciate that. we really do as business owners need to always remember that it's okay to talk about money. Like that's what business is about, you know? All right, yeah.
Hey, Cassia. Hey, Kalisha.
Hi.
This was really very, very informative. I particularly like the idea of putting together a Pinterest board, so that you can really think through what is the story you want to tell and what are the visuals, how you want to show up in your visuals. So that was actually really, really helpful. And definitely that having a shot list as well, and what is each shot supposed to communicate, what's the idea behind each shot. So thank you so much, and I'm real sorry I missed that other one last time.
Yes. Well, look, I'm trying to see the ways that you all could get to see the replays of those. I have something, as I said, I have a strategy that I'm working through. So yes, there will be a way that you will be able to see it again. But if you had missed them, you missed a lot, and that's why, I just want to keep bringing on, fellow women entrepreneurs that would really help you all to grow, especially in this year, as we are all, as they say, back out there, without being so overwhelmed, and we have to utilize the people that we have, just as Cassia said, just have a conversation about it. Don't be afraid, to talk about it without, feeling any type of way. Cassia, I could tell you, we have had many conversations, because it's life, it's business. There's no way you could get around, the finance question, like, okay, how can we do this? How can we work together? And it all, works together, I think, for everyone's good, so I would just have to encourage all of you to just keep connected and see how we can,
Make
grow
magic
this.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Shireen asked a question. It's a really good question. Actually, no, it wasn't Shireen, but she didn't have a question. But the question I was referring to was from Andrea. On average, how long does it take from consultation to actual shoot? I actually never really thought about like an exact timeline, but usually how it goes is, okay, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. You let me know, okay, around when do you want to do it? It's usually at least a month out. At least, because oftentimes you need to give yourself time to get wardrobe. And even if you have to, like most times, to really get the pieces that you want, it's easiest to go online and get it, right? So 1 month, give yourself at least 1 month minimum. So we have the meeting. Well, you send your inquiry, you get the quote, you accept, you make your payment. Once you make payment, you get to have your consultation within a week, right? So you'll get my link, we'll meet, we'll discuss, then you'll leave with all the things that you need to do, you need to organize. Then I would pin down with the photographer his availability, and then I coordinate with you, okay, these dates work for you, great, boom, and that's it. And then you kind of typically you get your photos in about 2 weeks, according to what his workload is at the time. So he will advise. It's not one standard thing, but post shoot, you see the gallery at least within 3 days to make a selection of photos, and then the editing process varies. All right, the other question was, do you do packages for products as well? Right. So I know I didn't talk about products. This is mainly for like personal branding, etc. But yes, we do product photography as well, which goes similar but different. Again, according to what is needed. Sometimes once you could just deliver the products to us, like we don't even have to meet on the day to do anything. I will get it to the photographer and we just kind of get it done. So with products, it's different, but then it varies according to the type of business. It could be a product, but if you have a physical location, you might need us to come and take photos of the store, the shelves. So it varies. if let's say the concept is something on the beach, you might want to come and you want to be there. So the models might not be you, but it will be the product. So it would vary. But yeah, we do products also. So an example of product photography we've done, you could actually go look at it right now, is mistressj.com. I'll get the link. Let me get the link and I will drop it in there. So you can get an idea of the quality. You could check them out on Instagram as well, but I'll do the website. mistressj. Now, actually, I drop the link. And I'll also share screen so everyone can see. All right, so this was a product photography. So in this case, this had no client involvement in terms of like booking or meeting. She just got the products to me. We got the props together. So every package is kind of custom because if you have props, you could bring them, but we include props in the package based on the concept. And yeah, we got these props for these images. So I geared the presentation more for brand photography, but as you can see, the impact good product photography does and has for a product-based business and the website. And then if you go to shop, so this is how this looks. Yeah.
So we have been on for an hour already. So I just want to thank you all for joining us live. And I hope that this meeting, the session today, really impacted you, got you thinking, got you some good pointers and notes that you could, put into your business, into your strategy for this year and beyond. Yeah, so thank you all so much. Don't forget to take a photo and share, if this session has been great to you, just let persons know what they have been missing. And I'm going to share who my next speaker is very soon, just waiting on some confirmation still, but it's going to be great. Yeah, and I'm loving the lineup so far. And it's just going to get greater. So thank you all. Let's follow each other and keep this community going. All right. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of your evening. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Didn't get to